Welcome to TalkNorth.com. Thanks to our longtime producer, Brandon Morton. Please download before you listen. If you'd like to advertise with us, you can reach us at talknorthpodcast@gmail.com. And please follow us on Twitter at TalkNorthPod. Two promo codes to be aware of. BiteSquad.com. Use the promo code TalkNorth to get your first delivery free. And go to SodaStick.com, the great local apparel company. Use the promo code YouBetcha to get free shipping on any sized order.
Starsky. Oh, we're partners.
You're listening to Steven Strom on TalkNorth.com.
And we welcome you in here to another edition of the Strom Sports Show. Steven Strom here, TalkNorth.com. Big shout out to my producer, Brandon Morton, Jim Suan, and our website if you want to advertise with this show. Exciting show today. Have Robbie Rosenhaus of WFAN talking about the PGA Tour here in Bethpage Black, right next to me in New York. Got a lot of good stuff going on with that. Brooks Koepka out to a phenomenal start. This is recorded on a Saturday, so right now Koepka is the leader, followed by Jordan Spieth, which is nice to see. Unfortunately, Tiger Woods did not make the cut, and some of my bets that I put in didn't even make the cut as well. John Rahm, who is an absolute head case, didn't make the cut. Tiger Woods struggled. I mean, you had to expect him to struggle. He didn't play any rounds after the Masters. He only played nine holes here at Bethpage once in his practice round. So he's kind of taken the relax approach. And Rory McIlroy has really struggled as well. He's even right now. He's trying to work his way back into things. But basically, the story is Dustin Johnson, Jordan Spieth, and Brooks Koepka, who are absolutely dominating this course. Koepka especially. So we'll keep an eye on that. Robbie will break down everything. Once again, Robbie came on Thursday. So this was prior to the event, so we'll hear his preview. Very good spot for him. And we'll break down everything and what to look for with this course as well, because this course is a absolute beast. Okay, so it's going to be an interesting conversation. Minnesota Twins, look, they can't lose right now. I don't know what to say. I mean, teams can't stay within 3 runs of them. Their lineup is deep. Their pitching has been good. It hasn't been great. They've been good. The story has been the lineup. From 1 to 9, they have been able to hit home runs, drive in runs, get on base, take really smart approaches at the plate. They've just done a phenomenal job. The bullpen's been good. If they really want to continue their success, I think that their hitting is obviously going to cool down, so the pitching is going to come maybe to a head here, and they're going to have to figure something out. They're going to have to pitch a little better, but for right now, they are 14 games over 500, and they are running the AL Central just like they used to in the mid-2000s, so we'll get into that a little bit. But I first wanted to do something a little creative with you guys today. And I was working last night, and I thought, the Vikings coming up, you're going to get into training camp. You just signed Garrett Bradbury, Kyle Rudolph drama. And I wanted to get into a little about the Vikes and a little bit about Kirk Cousins. And it's been a while since we talked about Kirk. And it was well needed because we kind of hammered Kirk Cousins into the wall this whole fall. Every show it seemed like we talked about the Vikings, but that's how it had to be. Now, I wanted to look at some of his stats and really kind of get into review of how he did last year. And when I was thinking of it, I thought, you know what? I'm going to name Kirk Cousins' best moments versus his worst moments. Okay? So let's break them down here. Let's start with the good. Number 3, Week 5 against the Eagles. The Vikings are up 17-3. I don't know if anyone remembers this, but the Vikings were on Philly's 5-yard line, and it seemed like the momentum was shifting. The Vikings needed to make a big play. The Vikings needed a big play, and they got one. Kirk Cousins goes back to pass, throws a 71-yard bomb to Adam Thielen, and it gets him out of Philly's danger zone and gets him out of Viking territory and into Eagles territory. That was a huge, huge play for that game because it ended up setting up points, and it just happened to be enough to win in Philly. And they needed every ounce of points to win that game. So I thought that was always a gutsy throw by Kirk Cousins to stick in the pocket on Philly's 5-yard line, to stick in the pocket and deliver that type of throw. That's number 3 for me. Number 2, down 9-7. I don't know. This is a bad one. The first half against the Lions was brutal. This was in Detroit. It seemed like the Vikings couldn't get anything going. They're down 9-7, and at the end of the second quarter, about 5 seconds left, they're at the 50-yard line, two out of range for a field goal, and the Vikings and Kirk Cousins throws a 44-yard Hail Mary to Kyle Rudolph to take a 14-9 lead. That is number 2 for me. Kirk goes back to pass, time ticking, throws a bomb up in the air, lands right in Kyle Rudolph's hands. And it changed the game. The Vikings didn't look back after that. Lions ended up scoring 9 points. I think the Vikings ended up scoring 27 or something like that. That was a huge play. That was a trap game, 100% trap game, and the Vikings needed that one. I think that was their 7th win or 8th win. It was their 8th win because they ended up finishing 8-7-1. They lost to the Bears that next week. So yeah, they ended up being their 8th win. Number 1. You could take, and this is, you could take games from, moments, I guess, but I wanted to do specific moments that really stuck out to me. But you can literally just put this on at number 1, Kirk Cousins versus the Packers. Because that was a game where you thought, damn, like if they can continue to protect him, and they can continue to do what he's comfortable with, this is going to be a fun freaking season. I mean, he was slinging it around, 300 plus yards. I mean, he was just unbelievable. But number 1 for me, week 2, 29-21, 36 seconds left, and Kirk Cousins absolutely threads the needle for a 22-yard touchdown to Adam Thielen. Goes back to pass, throws it, I think it was a cover 2, fits it right in the window. Thielen catches it on his butt, basically. He catches it and falls into the end zone. And for even a more impressive play, they need to go for 2. And Stephon Diggs runs this beautiful. I mean, he comes in. He was lined up by himself. He comes a couple steps in towards, like it was like doing a drag route, and then pivoted off his right foot into the corner of the end zone, and Kirk Cousins laid it right on him. That is number 1 for me. Those are good. Those are solid, 3 solid moments. But if we really want to see what he's worth, those 3 moments next year better be in the postseason. But those are Kirk Cousins' best moments. Okay, let's go to the bad. And I had some people tweet me, and I had some people give me some good ideas. Joe Sacco, number 1. I think we can just put bad. Number 1 by itself is the contract. I think the contract is the worst thing really about the whole Kirk Cousins thing, because not that he isn't, I just think when you look at it in terms of, is he worth that? I mean, I don't even think it's close. I mean, I don't think he's even close to being worth that. I think he's a good quarterback. But $84 million, that's way, way too much. So you could really just make that the bad. But I'm going to be creative here. I'm going to give you my 3 worst Kirk Cousins moments of 2018. Number 3. I think the Kirk Cousins versus Adam Thielen fight was something that stood out to me. The last game of the year, they're on the sideline. Kirk Cousins is pretending to run routes. Adam Thielen's screaming back at him, and that's never good. I know there's such things as, good confrontations and critical, the critical criticism and all that kind of stuff that you try to justify it with. I didn't think that was it. I thought that was just 2 frustrated guys, a team that isn't supposed to be here, a team that isn't supposed to be playing in this type of game. They were supposed to be clinched, and they are yelling at each other on the sideline. Okay, that is Terrell Owens type of things, and that's not Adam Thielen. And that was a bad look for the organization. I genuinely felt embarrassed to be a Viking fan that day because of how bad they played, and then the antics on the sideline, because it was so Adam Thielen-like, it was so un-Kirk Cousins-like, and to end the season like that, where now you're pointing the finger and you're telling each other what to do, it was weak. So number 3 is the Adam Thielen and Kirk Cousins fight. Number 2, how about all the checkdowns on 3rd downs? Oh my God, this drove me crazy. It was 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. Cousins was look at one read, and this is not just Kirk Cousins. This is the whole team, the all offensive line. Kirk Cousins would take one look through his progressions and dump it off to Latavius Murray or Dalvin Cook for 2 or 3 yards. The checkdowns on 3rd downs were the absolute worst. You almost rather him try to throw it deep, and if you get an interception, who cares? It's a good punt. But the checkdowns on 3rd downs, one of the worst. It's just, it's like it's a defeated move. When a quarterback does that, he's basically saying, okay, your defense is too good. I'm not good enough to throw it down. I'm just going to it's a give up play. And it's just the amount of times that it happened this year, it just drove you nuts. It drove you absolutely bonkers when he'd do it. So that's number 2. Kirk Cousins and his checkdowns on third downs. Number 1, the strip sacks. Oh my Lord. It seemed like it was like every game. Cousins would go back to pass, have the ball up. Cousins is one of those quarterbacks, by the way, where he dances. He jumps on the balls of his feet, right? So he's sitting there and he has his right hand on the ball and his left hand on the ball, and he'll clap the ball. He'll touch the ball and clutch it. So he's sitting back there, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, strip. It just seemed like it was destined to happen so many times. I mean, he had 7 lost fumbles last year. That was tied for the most with Dak Prescott. 7 lost fumbles. He had double-digit lost fumbles in Washington. The Rams game, minute 34, you're down 7, strip sack. Now, he played great that game, but still, it's not, to me, turnovers are very interesting because it doesn't matter to me like the amount of turnovers. It matters when you turn it over. And in a lot of these situations, Kirk Cousins fumbled it late in games. You think about the Rams game, down 7, 1:34 left, strip sack, game over. You think about Seattle, you're down 14-0, 2:45 left, strip sack, game over. You think about the Buffalo game, could never get back into it because he fumbled 3 times. The Philly game he fumbled. There was a bunch of times here where Kirk Cousins' timing of these turnovers were just brutal. Timely turnovers are what loses you and wins you games. So the strip sacks for me are number 1. In review, Kirk Cousins' best moments, Week 5, Philly, 71-yard throw to Adam Thielen. Number 2, 44-yard Hail Mary to take a 14-9 lead in Detroit. Number 1, Week 2, 29-21, 37 seconds left. Cousins threads that needle to Thielen and then ends up tying it up with a 2-point conversion. The bad, you had the Cousins versus the Thielen fight. The checkdowns on third downs drove your nuts, and the strip sacks have to change. Robbie Rosenhaus, he will break down the PGA Tour here at Bethpage Black.
And we're joined by the recurring guest, Robbie Rosenhaus, my WFAN producer. He actually lives 1 mile away from Bethpage Black. We're going to get into the PGA Championship. He went to the practice round. He's very familiar with the course. As an amateur, he did play, and we just talked a little bit about if he wants to share that story with you. I don't know if we want to get into that. But he's going to be at the event from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Hopefully Tiger's in it by Saturday and Sunday. That's just my personal opinion. But I wanted to get Robbie's insight here on the course because he's familiar with it. So give us a little breakdown here, Robbie, of what these guys are going to be having to go against here on Long Island.
Well, first of all, Steve, thanks again for having me on the show.
My pleasure.
Bethpage Black is a beast. There's no other way to describe it. I mean, you look at different courses around the country, and you can say that this course is tough, and this course is tough, but when you look at Bethpage Black and you look at the history and the times that the pros have come through here, whether it be in 2002 when Tiger Woods was the only player under par, when you look at 2009, Lucas Glover's winning score was only 4 under, and only 5 players were in red numbers. Think about that for a second. And things were a little bit better this decade at the 2 FedEx Cup events. Nick Watney won one of them, but the bad weather that's come through the last couple of days. I mean, we haven't seen the sun here in the metropolitan area in 3 weeks, so it's going to take a couple of days to dry out. They're going to tee off tomorrow morning at 6:45. It's a long, long course. I expect low scores earlier in the week as the course is still soft. But once it dries out and starts to lengthen, it's going to be very, very difficult to get to some of those long, long par 4s and land them in 2. And it's going to be fascinating to see. It really is.
And this is a long course, as you said. This is a par 70, 4 par 3s, 12 par 4s, 2 par 5s. This is a beast of a course, as Robbie put it. Give me some guys here. If you're looking to bet, maybe like myself, what guys best suit this course? Is it the DJs? Is it the Roy?